What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. I am here with Aaron again, and this time we're going to be covering the fact that Joshua is going to be fighting Robert Helenius as a late replacement opponent. So the first thing I'm going to ask you, just to sort of start off, is what are your thoughts on the White situation? Just some brief thoughts on it. And what do you think, what are your initial thoughts on Robert Helenius as a step-in?
So in terms of the White situation, I would say I'm shocked, but if you fail 3 times in boxing and twice in kickboxing, I guess you can't really be shocked. I think he knew this was his last chance to lose, so I guess anything that would help he would take. It's disappointing because I actually thought this is a good fight for both fighters. I think literally the winner of this has one more push at the world title, and the loser of that fight is pretty much done at world level. So I think that was a really good fight that's been wasted, unfortunately.
And
I think in terms of Robert Helenius as well, as you said, I think he's a good opponent. I think if you're going to fight Wilder December, January, I think Robert Helenius in terms of dimensions is perfect, and he can punch, so you have to be wary as well.
Yeah, that's the thing about Robert Helenius. He has got power. So just to touch on what you said about Dillian Whyte, yeah, I was disappointed as well. And the thing is, it's like, here's the thing that's weird. Like, it's not a world title fight. It's not like a fight that's like where there's a lot on the line in terms of titles. But I just felt that, one, it was kind of like a loser goes home type of fight.
Exactly.
And I've also felt that for whatever reason, I always think that if Joshua and Whyte come together, there's going to be a good fight. I don't know why. I can't imagine them having a stinker. So
yeah, definitely.
So it's just sometimes you get those people, don't you? When they come together, it's going to be a good fight. So yeah, in that respect, I'm disappointed. And with regards to Robert Helenius, sort of to comment on what you're saying, yeah, as a late replacement opponent, I can't complain. I actually, and Hatman was talking about this, I don't know if you've watched his video on it, but I'm actually kind of thinking that Eddie Hearn, I don't know if Eddie Hearn or Matchroom have been great at matchmaking in the past. And the reason I say this is to say this: Robert Helenius is a more dangerous opponent, in my opinion, than Gerald Washington. And lots of people are talking about Gerald Washington. And when you're looking at it from a marketing and matchmaking perspective, you've got to look at it from Wilder just beat Helenius in 1 round. I can't see Helenius letting that happen in this fight. So from a marketing perspective, I'm not saying Joshua could, for all I know, and I'm picking Joshua to win this fight, by the way, for you to ask me who's going to win, and probably by knockout. But I'm just saying, if Robert Helenius, with his amateur pedigree, a bit like what he did against Dillian Whyte, if he decides he doesn't want to get knocked out and he just wants to, get fiddle his way through the fight, then it could go, like, don't be surprised if it goes 8, 9, 10 rounds. Because against Wilder, he actually came forward and then he walked on.
It's his own detriment, though.
Yeah. So but from a marketing perspective, if Joshua, I'm not talking about criticizing Joshua necessarily, I'm talking about the guys who are matchmaking and marketing. If he goes 8, 9, 10 rounds against Helenius, it's like a lose-lose, like, and then and at the same time, I can't see Helenius letting himself get knocked out and around again. So I don't know about the matchmaking there. Whereas if it was Washington, even if it went longer than Wilder against Washington, people forget, amnesia in it. It's like 2017.
Yeah.
So, and I think also that Washington was less dangerous because I think Helenius has got more power. So I think from a marketing perspective, just to kind of like round off what I'm saying so I don't go around in circles, as an opponent, it's not a bad opponent, but with regards to a lose-lose, because if Joshua knocks a man around, well, he was supposed to do that, and if he doesn't, then it's like people are going to criticise him. It might dent his confidence. But then with Washington coming in, he has less power, so there's less risk, and I think that he would still have been a credible opponent and it would have been a credible opponent. So I just think Washington may have been better. What do you think about that?
Well, there's 2 sides you can look at it. Washington has been training with Malik Scott for the past year, as I've been seeing. I know it's only pad work, but he has improved. And Washington was never actually a terrible boxer. I think it was more his heart, his determination. I feel like that's what let him down. So In terms of Helenius being a worse opponent for Joshua, I look at it two ways. I feel like the Washington fight will be more trickier just because Washington's a better boxer.
Yeah.
But there's more of a danger element against Helenius because Helenius is, in my opinion, the top 5 punchers in the division. And Washington doesn't carry power at all. So it's a case of if Washington did land a couple, I wouldn't really be concerned. But if Helenius did land a couple, then 100% I'll be concerned because Helenius is like a monster puncher.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of Helenius fighting Dylan White, I'm not sure if you saw, but Helenius really hurt White with a jab, like to the back of his head. So you can see he clearly got power. But
Round
I
2.
also feel like since then his feet have slowed down considerably. I think that's one thing that's happened. He's 39, coming off a knockout loss. His feet have slowed down a lot. So as much as I think he will do that, he's always had a bad gas tank. That's what lost him the fight against Washington. I think I watched that fight the other day. I thought he was comfortably beating Washington, but as his gas tank let him down. So there's risk factors to it. But I do understand from a marketing point that Wilder knocked him out in a round. If you don't do it in a round, they might say this, they might say that. Personally, me, I see this fight going maybe 5-7.
Yeah.
That's where I see it, roughly 5-7. But yeah, I do definitely hear your point in terms of Wilder did this first in the first round. If Asia didn't do it, this and that. But yeah, I do definitely hear your point.
Yeah, that was all I was saying, and I just think that. And then, do you agree that it's more of a risky fight? I'm not picking Helenius. I'm just saying in terms of the risk. Do you think it's also a more risky fight than Washington?
Oh, definitely. Just because the fact that Helenius, we know, is a serious puncher. So if he does get caught, then of course there's a risk. But at the same time, with Washington, I actually see that not as a competitive fight, but for the first 4 or 5 rounds, I think that's a fiddly fight for Joshua. I think there's not as much openings to land on Washington as there are Helenius. I think Helenius is kind of like, I don't want to compare them to, but they have kind of got similar stand-up right style as Kubrat Pulev. It's very Eastern European stand-up-ish, and I think that if Joshua comes confident, I think there's massive opportunities for him to land his own shots, and Helenius can't take a punch.
Yeah.
So I do see it is more of a risky fight, but I see it more as a winnable fight for him.
That's fair enough. I picked Joshua against both, but I think that I definitely hear your point as well. I just thought maybe, I don't know. I just think the punch power, if they have Wilder in mind, I don't know. And Eddie Hearn has kind of messed up matchmaking in the past, but
I don't really rate him as a matchmaker at all.
I think maybe Warren's even. I mean, Eddie Hearn's a better speaker and a better promoter, like in terms of promoting and like, you know, the presentation. But I think Warren might be better at building a fighter.
Definitely.
But overall, I mean, as I say, this fight, I think that it's not bad for a step in. I think I don't know if you knew this, but Helenius actually fought last Saturday on a small card.
He did.
So he obviously that's good for him. I'm sure he negotiated a good deal. But yeah, I'm not too disappointed. I'm disappointed the White fight fell through, but I'm not too disappointed this is a sort of a step in late replacement. And we'll quickly go into the sort of the fight itself. How do you see this fight playing out? Like, not who you win. Say who you think is going to win, but also talk about how you think the fight is going to go.
Okay. So in terms of this fight, I'm going off assuming that Helenius' footwork has slowed down a lot, because that's what I've witnessed in the past couple of years. Even against Kaunaki when he won, I think his footwork has slowed down a lot. So I don't think he's going to be on the back foot as much as he did against Dylan White. Because to be honest with you, in that Dylan White fight with Helenius, I think if he came with belief, he had a very good chance of beating Dylan White, because he made him look really clumsy and silly at one point. So he's got ability, but I'm just going based on slow down footwork. So I think for the first couple rounds will be cagey. I think Joshua will land something big in the first couple rounds, but I don't think he'll push the action until he knows that Helenius is there for the taking. I do see Helenius landing a couple shots in terms of the jab, the quick 1-2. I do see him landing that, but I feel like it could be a cagey affair from round 1 to 3, and I think from round 4 to 5, Joshua will land something. Henderson will be tired. He can't get over the fact that he's basically nearly 40, and I think Joshua will take him out inside 6 rounds. But I do expect Helenius to land his fair share of shots though.
That's fair. What were you saying? Was it 5, 6, 7 rounds or something like that? You think Josh will get the knockout?
Yeah, from 5 to 7.
Okay, that's interesting. So obviously that's how you see the fight going. And with regards to me, I mean, I can see this fight go because Joshua has changed his style. So I think that Joshua will come out quite tentative and just have a look. I think that Robert Helenius will go out there, and I think that Robert Helenius may try for a few, but I don't think it'll be like him going in there like Mike Tyson and trying to close the gap and all that, and he can't do that anyway. But I think he will kind of keep it long but aggressive at the start. I think Joshua will try and keep it safe. But I think that the difference in this fight here, as you say, Joshua has fast feet. Well, not crazy fast feet, but he's got quite fast feet. He's quick on his feet. And I think Joshua, the thing with him is, even though he's a tall fighter, he actually throws quite good combinations on the inside for a heavyweight.
He does.
For a heavyweight of his dimensions. So I think that on the inside may be where Joshua gets his best work done. But I can also see him winning it long as well, because as you say, Robert Helenius, he's a big target. He doesn't always keep his chin down, and he normally fights with his hands quite low, doesn't he?
Every time he throws a combination, they don't go back to his chin, they go back down to his waist. So gets a fast counter puncher like Joshua. I think he will light up Helenius.
I think it'll take a while to get going, this one. But I think that eventually, as you say, Joshua will land on him. And then once he lands on him, I can see it maybe being one where Helenius gets dropped, maybe in the late mid rounds, maybe 7, 8, 9, and he gets up, and then Joshua landing a flurry and the ref stepping in. But as you said, I can actually still see Robert Helenius having some success in there because of his amateur pedigree. I think Joshua will respect his punch power as well. So I do think that Helenius will land a few, but I can, because of Helenius's power, I'm not discounting an upset. But here are the factors that are kind of making me maybe think that's not going to happen. 1, the late notice. 2, Robert Helenius, he didn't come to fight against Dillian Whyte. There's actually an interview after that fight of him saying he needed the money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you try and see if it's still up. He talked after the fight and said he took it because he needed the money, and then. So he obviously didn't come to fight there, and he gave it a few rounds and then he just went on his bike, and then
the first big shot he got hit with, he's like, this is it.
Exactly. And Wilder, I mean, there were I don't know if that was dodgy, but I don't know, even if it weren't, I don't know if he came to fight in that one, because they were mates, sparring partners.
I was going to say they were good sparring partners, and I'm not going to say it's fixed, but it is a bit suspect. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, and so again, there's that. So I don't know. Basically, I'm saying I don't know if Robert Helenius comes and he's the best Robert Helenius, like Robert Helenius versus Adam Kanaki the second time, then that's a hard fight. But I have my suspicion whether that you're going to see Robert Helenius like that. So I'm more, if he did that, I would say that would be like a 70-30 or 65-35. But because I doubt that, I'm leaning more 75-25 to Joshua on this fight, something like that.
I would say that as well. I would say this is a 75-25 fight. Just you can never count out someone that can punch as hard as Helenius. And if you do, then I don't think you know the sport of heavyweight boxing, honestly. You can never discount it just because he has power. But all things lead to Joshua's victory. I just think, in terms of Helenius, he's basic, but he's good. Has a very good straight 1-2. So you can't. I saw Joshua backing up his straight hands against Franklin, and you can't really be doing that against someone like Helenius. Yeah. So I just think you have to be alert. Don't forget you're punching up. So I also want to point out one thing. Joshua hasn't really fought any people taller or as tall as him recently. So I think maybe if he's struggling with the shorter opponents, maybe this fight could give him a chance to showcase.
Yeah.
Everything,
because I think he struggles more against the shorter fighters. Whereas with Robert Helenius, he's going to be a bigger target, and this is why I actually think that Joshua has more chance of beating Fury than Usyk, in my opinion. because of the styles, but I'll save that for another video. So yeah, I'm going with Joshua. I think you're going with Joshua as well, but we both kind of circumspect because of the punch power of Helenius. I think it's a riskier fight than Washington. I think it's potentially a more exciting fight than Washington, because I can't see Washington ever like trying to go for it against Joshua. I think he'd try and win it on points, or like try and survive or something, whereas Helenius, there's the danger element. So from a entertainment perspective, it's better than Washington, but from a matchmaking perspective and potentially denting Joshua's confidence, I think it's maybe not the best matchmaking from Matchrooms, but I'm not in Matchroom, so I don't care. But just a very quick question before I leave it off. Do you think it will dent Joshua's confidence if it takes him, like, say, 8, 9, 10 rounds, or even goes on points? Like, do you think that will dent his confidence, considering what Wilder did?
I think on points, you would have to be thinking, well, it depends. I think if he lands his best shots and Helenius is still there and it goes to points, then yeah, I think you're going to have a bit of questions about, okay, how come Wilder got rid of him in one punch and I landed all my best and he didn't go? But if it's a cagey affair and he wins, then I wouldn't say so, just because he didn't land his shots. I also think, though, I think the general consensus is that this fight will go longer than a round. I don't think people actually expect it to end in a round. I think people expect him to knock him out, but I think people that know what they're talking about see this fight probably going mid to late. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well, honestly, because I don't, if you know, Robert Helenius went forward against Wilder and walked into that, but whereas he's got the amateur pedigree, like if he decides he doesn't want to get knocked out, he can easily get on his bike and be hard to hit and long.
Exactly.
You know, and styles make fights at the end of the day, so it is what it is. All right, man, have you got any other thoughts before we sort of close off?
I do have one thing. If you're gonna, I think in terms of matchmaking, it is a lot more dangerous than Washington, but for Wilder, if you are going to fight Wilder in December/January, I think this is perfect, because you obviously I want him to fight a puncher, so you know the risks of fighting a puncher. You know what to do if you do get hit against Helenius. You know, okay, if I switch off for 1 second, I can't do that again. I think with Washington, because he doesn't have that power, if you do get hit, you're going to be like, oh, I can take it. I think against Helenius, if you get hit once, you know that I do not want to get hit again. So I think in terms of Wilder prep, I think it's a good fight. It's a dangerous fight, but it does definitely make sense. Yeah,
and you know what? Arguably, it's a more dangerous fight than, a better preparation than Dillian White.
Yeah. Same dimensions, same awkwardness to an extent. So I think, yeah, definitely a better fight.
All right then. So I'm looking forward to, I can't lie, it's not the worst stepping opponent, because it's still got my attention. So I'm still going to be tuning in. I think it's good that it's off pay-per-view. Not going to lie, I know he's your cousin, but I wasn't mad on the White Joshua pay-per-view for the price either. Like, just being objective, I wasn't bare on that. But you know, if people want to pay, then, you know, it's a buyer's market. If people are willing to pay, then it is what it is. But I'm glad this is off pay-per-view. I'm glad that, you know, the card is still on, because you got some good undercard fights as well.
Good fights. You got Philip Hergovich versus Dempsey McKean. You got Chisora versus Washington. And I actually think Washington is going to beat Chisora.
Yeah, he could. You know, did you see the face-off?
Yeah, I actually think that Washington will beat Chisora. I think Chisora done.
Yeah.
I think he's done.
Prime Chisora would win, but the feet have slowed down too much.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's there for Washington to lose.
Yeah. Because even against Demirizin, I think he had his success, and Demirizin is better than Chisora now. So
yeah, definitely. And then one more quick thing in terms of Hergovich and Dempsey McKean, I see Hergovich winning inside 6 rounds. To be honest with you, I don't rate Dempsey McKean at all.
Yeah, he's not the best prospect, and he was hurt against Rice. I don't know if you watched that fight.
Yeah, I watched that fight. He won. He's very lucky to get that stoppage, because I think he was behind on all the cards before. So yeah. I think he was losing from what I remember, and obviously it was the very last seconds. I bet the ref couldn't wait to stop that. Yeah.
So yeah, man. But I'm still interested, because he's unbeaten. He's going to come in with the winning mentality. Southpaw, Herkovich struggled against a Southpaw last time out.
Yeah.
So was it his last fight? Is that Hergovich's?
Wow, that's the last year. He's been out for a long time. So
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, some good undercard fights. And Johnny, I don't know. I'm not. Johnny Fisher's got to show me something before I'm really engaged. So
I think it's more of a cult following than actual talent.
With the Chinese takeaway after the fight.
Yeah. I think his dad is more famous than Johnny Fisher himself.
That's mad.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you, Aaron, for joining me on this video.
No problem.
I'm going to be looking forward to this fight, looking forward to the card. And let me know what you guys think. Who do you think is going to win? And is there a chance of an upset? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video. And I'll see you on the next video.